Going through some things today. I just wanted to say this. He said, greater is he that is in you than there is in all of the world. Meaning that he has enough life in him to sustain each and every last one of us and can particularly take it and give it from each and every last one of us by himself solely alone. That is the word that is righteous, that comes out of the mouth of men. That is the breath. That is that is your dexterity and life that you have. He can give it to you and take it away. And I know this specifically because I have had out of body experiences. And it is synonymous with having a stroke when you are struggling with the out of body experience and you're in a sleep apnea form. So I'll just get off of that and get back onto this. This is the true message of the day. Now, Yashaya's name, Yasha means salvation. Yah means the Most High. Yah. Okay. So, Yashaya, salvation of Yah. Okay. Grace and salvation go together. Okay. Grace and salvation go hand in hand, just like righteousness and salvation go together. Okay. So, check this out. Yashaya, who you call, shouldn't say you, but in English, people are saying his name is Jesus. Okay. So, we're just going to skip all that and just say his name is salvation. Okay. So that we understand that in English. All right. And then his servant, John, the one that he loved, well, besides that, we're just going to go straight to the point. John's name means grace. Okay. John means grace. They are the two messengers. They are the two angels. They are the two things that always happen in every generation, if I'm not mistaken, since the beginning. Grace and salvation. Man is nothing without them. Since Enoch walked with Yah, Enoch means grace. His name means dedicated or trained up, but literally that's the subcategory of grace. Okay. And John, his name means grace. And John, his job is the same as Enoch's, was to revelate to the people what is to come in the future. Okay. Or to the fallen. He was a mediator. Okay. So check this out. Here we go. We're going to call the English word Jesus salvation, and we're going to call John grace. So here we go. After he had finished all his sayings and the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. Now, a centurion is a person that lives over 100 years old, had a servant who was sick, and at that point of death, who was highly valued by him. When the centurion heard about salvation, he sent to him elders of the Thanksgiving, tribe of Thanksgiving, we'll say that, asking him to come and heal his servant. And they came to salvation and pleaded with him earnestly, saying, he is worthy to have you do this for him, for he loves our nation. He is the one who built us our synagogue. And salvation went with him, and he was not far from the house. Remember, salvation came to save sinners. Okay, remember that synagogue? Uh, synagogue of Satan? Okay, any sinners. Okay, anyway. My bad, salvation went with them, and he was not far from the house. The centurion sent friends, saying to him, Yah, Yasha, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. Therefore I did not presume to you to come, but say say Yah, say the word, and say the word Hayah. Okay? Say Hayah. Say yes. Yes. Yes is the essence of Yah. It's the existence of Yah. It is the self-existence of Yah. Yes. Yes. Yes, sir. Yashar. Yashaya. Hayashar Haya. Okay. You hear that? There you go. Okay. He said, all you had to do is say the word. Let me see where my thumb was at. But say the word, and let my servant be healed. For I am a man, for I too am a man set under authority with soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes, and another, and to another, come, and he comes, and to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Salvation heard these things, he marveled at him and turned to the crowd that followed him, said, I tell you, not even one, he said, I tell you, not even in Yeshurun have I found such faith. Okay? Out of all that, he said just that one line. And when those who had been sent returned to the house, they found the servant well. Okay, Salvation raises a widow's son. Soon after, he went to a town called Nain, Nain, Noun, and his disciples and a great crowd went with him. And he drew near the gate of the town. Behold, a man who had died was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and a considerable crowd from the town was with her. And when Yasha saw her, he had compassion on her and said to her, do not weep. Then he came up and touched the bier, and the bearers stood still. And he said, young man, I say to you, arise. And the dead man sat up and began to speak. Remember, life and death in the power of the tongue. Young man, I say to you, arise. And the dead man sat up and began to speak. And Salvation gave him to his mother. Fear seized them all. They glorified Yah, saying, they glorified Hayah, saying, a great prophet has arisen among us, and Yah has visited his people. This report about him spread through the whole of the Thanksgiving and all the surrounding country, through the whole of the thankful. Now, here's the point. Messengers from Grace the Baptist, baptized in grace? Okay. The disciples of Grace reported all these things to him, and Grace, calling two of his disciples to him, sent to the Yasha, saying, well, we would say that would be more, it's Mashiach, saying, are you the one, because it's an L, so when it's an L, you take it to the M's, with Moses and Moshe and stuff like that. So it's Moshe, but it's like Messiah more so. Sent them to the Moshe, like how they would have modis in what do you call it, in imams and modis in Arabic. Well, the Moshe and the Mosheah is for the thankful. Okay, saying for those that are under Yashaya, salvation. Moshe is under Yashaya, so the Lord is under Yasha is under Yashaya. Okay, there we go. Moshe is under. Okay, anyway, saying, are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? No. And when the men had come to him and said, Grace the Baptist has sent us to you, saying, are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? In that hour he healed many people of diseases and plagues and evil spirits, and on many who were blind he bestowed sight. And he answered them, go and tell Grace what you have seen and heard. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead risen up, the poor have good news preached to them, and blessed is the one who is not offended by me. When grace's messengers had gone, salvation began to speak to the crowd. Remember, grace and salvation go hand in hand. Began to speak to the crowds concerning grace. Why did he want to speak to grace all of a sudden? He's speaking to the crowd about grace. Okay. Now, grace is like, are you the one? He sent his dudes, like, are you the one that I'm looking for, or should we look for another? Salvation is like, yo, go back and tell them what we did. Turns around and starts talking about grace to the people after what he just did to them. Here we go. What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken by the wind? What then did you go out to see? A man dressed in soft clothing? Behold, those who are dressed up in splendid clothing and live in luxury are in king's courts. And then, did you go out to see? A prophet? What then did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I told you, and more than a prophet. Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is he of whom it is written, behold, I send my messenger before your face. He says, speaking to the crowd concerning John, grace. Remember this, right? What then did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is he of whom it is written, behold, I sent my messenger before your face. Who will prepare your way before you? I tell you. So there's John means grace, and Yeshaya is omnipotent. Okay, omnipotent. He said, "You see me, but you hear my Father." That voice that you're hearing is the omnipotent life and death. That's why he could say it, and people are risen through that vessel, his son. Okay, so what we're saying is he can pull you in and out of this life in just a word, right? Now, these names are important because I said grace, right? Grace is Enoch and grace is all of the Johns, all of them. There's Yachanan, there's Johannans, there's a lot of in throughout the Bible. But two in particular, the Revelator, the Baptizer, and Enoch. Enoch is considered the first to walk with Yah. So he is considered literally like John the Baptist walking with Yah, Yahshaya, salvation. His grace and salvation go hand in hand. All right. So that's in the beginning. In the end, you have John the Revelator and John the Baptist hand in hand with salvation once again. And this is what he says. This is he of whom it is written, behold, I send my messenger before your face, who will prepare your way before you. I tell you, among those born of women, there is none. I mean, I tell you, among those born of women, none is greater than grace. Yet the one who is the least is in the kingdom of yet one yet the one who is least in the kingdom of Yah is greater than he. Okay? Do you hear? When all people heard this, and the tax collectors too, they declared Yah just, having been baptized with the baptism of grace, but the Pharisees and the lawyers, this is like, you know, the pharmacies and the doctors and all that stuff, they're like, nah, nah, nah. Rejected the purpose of Yah for themselves, yes, for themselves, not having been baptized by him. Okay, so what I'm saying is that that's what he's saying about John, right? That's grace. Grace and salvation go hand in hand. Now, his birth was from woman. John was, he said, none greater born from woman. You know what I mean? No man has come from a woman greater than grace. And this is salvation saying that. Understand that? So at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, you're like, okay, just know the definition of these words and the roots of the words, and you'll see the names change over time in the languages that we speak, but the definition is always rooted. Whether it be a counterfeit name, they can't get away from the truth. It has to stand in truth. The truth stands alone. And that's the world that we're living in. And that's what they're trying to, the Pharisees and the lawyers and all that stuff are trying to create lawfare around. You know what I mean? Non-disclosure agreements. You can't talk about this. You can't say that. You can't admit this. You can't say that this heals you. You can't say that. You know what I mean? Like that's they got gonna mess up their money. You know what I mean? Taxpayers and all that stuff. So yeah, essentially that's what that is. But yeah, I just want you guys to see that. Like out of all the names in the book, he's telling you right there. Like he tells you the name, but if you know the definition and who the definition is coming from and what their definition is, you will see that it was always that. It's always been. As in the beginning, so too shall we in the end. It's always been grace and salvation. Grace and the Most High Yah. It's always those two on the earth. When they and when they come together, it's the world needs to pay attention real quick because something's about that's that's like a last call, pretty much. So yeah, man, I pay attention to the names on the stage. I see it happening. I see the people at war. I see them trying to play the sides and stuff like that. And but then there's a lot, but that's just stuff that they put out there. Like I said, the stuff that's censored, you can't. They won't tell you. They won't show you. But they can't censor the word because people's names. People like essentially that's why they're trying to get rid of people because when you get rid of people, there's no need for words because the AI already has its own language. And it ain't words. All right. But at the end of the day, it's binary code, grace and salvation. Okay. And that's what it is. Grace leads to salvation, and salvation leads to righteousness. Or grace and righteousness lead to salvation. You know what I mean? So, but man is saved by grace alone. That's the point of this. Is that you're wondering why is grace such a because these are the rules of the of the domain and the dimension that we're in. These are the rules. The rules is man said no one, no man has been born from a woman greater than John. Okay. No man has been born from a woman greater than grace. Okay. We know that. But the saying goes in the end, man can only be saved and man will only be saved by grace alone. Alone. Alone, bro. Alone. So, like, what does that mean? When they say faith only come by hearing alone, not by sight, it only come by hearing alone. So therefore, the man can only be saved by grace alone. And then he's telling you, my messenger, before your face, salvation, man can only be saved. And salvation is telling you by grace alone. So it means you gotta go through grace to get to salvation. You gotta be grace to be salvation. Two cannot go down the same road lest they be in accord. You're in the same body. You're left and right foot. This is how the body walks. Grace and salvation. And can I learn or can I help? Or my if they need to learn that and help you learn grace and salvation. Those are footsteps. Most High don't walk alone. We know that grace since the beginning. Enoch, the one who did not die, who was taken. Grace alone. He was saved. He did not die. He was saved alone. Grace. So if you get with grace, salvation's coming. If he sees you with grace, you're coming with. Man can only be saved by grace alone. Grace is going towards salvation. So if you see grace, get with grace. It's going to lead you to salvation alone. So that's the point of me pointing this out. About the one that gives and takes. It's all like, I got people right now going through some stuff, man. If you've been watching my videos, you already know I had that sleep apnea growing up. And I had to learn how to fight. And there was nobody there. There is nobody there. There is no physical person that is going to come and save you. You can't even yell out. You're in a whole nother world. You're like a ghost in your own body. It's crazy. You're like a ghost trying to move animate objects in the real world. And that's your body you're trying to move. Essentially, you can move some stuff, but it ain't no controlling it. It just goes. If you can make it go that much. And I learned how to do this shit, man. And I'll tell you, it's all in the breathing. It's all in the breathing. It's all in the breath. The power of life and death is in the tongue, the breath. You give and you take it away. Inhale, exhale. Grace and salvation. You got life. Everlasting. It's like a motor. It's like a seesaw. As long as those two keep going, you got life. That's what we're looking at today. On that note, man, I'm gonna call this a wrap. It's 23 minutes and 24 seconds. To the Rabbi Hayashar Haya Kadosh Kadash Kadesh, to the Rabbi Yeshaya Kadosh Kadash Kadosh, to the Rabbi Hayashar Haya. I already said that. It's been a long day. It's been a long. I've been explaining some stuff, and usually when I explain stuff to somebody, then I'll go and make a video to help clear it off, whatever I didn't tell them, you know? And that's for everybody. So that they don't take it personal. Awesome. But yeah. To the Rabbi Hayashar Haya Kadosh Kadash Kadesh, to the Rabbi Yeshaya Kadosh Kadash Kadosh, to the Rabbi I help you all call Maaseh Kadosh Kadash Kadesh. Anami to the Rabbi.